My name is Pastor Juanterrance Lowe. I bring you greetings from the Stamp Branch Missionary Baptist Church, located at 6588 Quaker Road, Warrenton, Georgia, 30828. I came this morning to bring you a brief summary of today's Sunday school lesson. The topic is Upside Down Love. The printed passage is John 13, verses 1 through 15, and verse 34 and 35. The lesson's key verses is, "For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you." John 13 and 15. I believe that this is a classic story of who Jesus really is. Jesus was a servant. He was a servant even to the disciples. He was a servant to them. He was always serving them. He was always making sure that they were taken care of. Even in the midst of where this story goes, this story lets us know that he realized that he was going to be betrayed. But even in the time that he knew he was going to be betrayed, he still did what was required of him from his Father in heaven. He still washed the feet of the disciples. He was showing them how true servanthood is to be carried out. And the situation, serving and love, requires patience and persistence. You have to be a servant no matter what the situation. You have to be persistent in what God has called you to do. You have to be patient with people. Love is patient. Love is kind. You have to be patient with people even when you realize that that they may mean to do you harm. You still have to be patient. You still have to love them. You still have to be persistent. You still have to do the will of the master no matter what the situation is. Jesus said that he didn't come to be served, but he came to serve. He came to be a servant to others. But one of the most important verses, or one of the most encouraging part of this scripture, is the verses 34 and 35. "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also should love one another." Verse 35 says, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciple, if you have love one for another." God requires us to love one another in the midst of our storms, in the midst of our trials, and in the midst of our tribulation. God requires us to love.